Hello fellow YouTubers, and welcome to my Japanese grammar series where we will learn about the beauty and intricacies of the Japanese language. Now today we will be talking about two Japanese grammar points that are very similar and very easy to confuse, especially for beginners of the Japanese language. And these two grammar points are ることがある versus たことがある. Now, essentially, たことがある talks about past experiences, whereas ることがある talks about occasionalism and frequency. Okay, so let's first start by looking at たことがある and its negative counterpart, たことがない. Now, as I've already mentioned, this grammar point talks about past experiences, but it can also be used to ask someone else about their own past experiences. Now, as far as past experiences go, it can be an exotic place that you may have visited in the past, or somewhere that you've never been to before. It could be used to describe a certain type of food that you may have tried before, or a type of food that you've never tried before, or it could be used to describe that one time that you met with your favorite movie star but forgot to ask for the picture. Now, the way to construct a sentence using this grammar point would be to take the ta form of a verb, in other words, the verb past tense, and then you attach ta koto ga aru or ta koto ga nai, respectively, depending on whatever it is that you're wishing to convey. So, for example, let's take the verb taberu and let's turn this verb into the ta form. Now, in order to do this, we must take the stem of the verb taberu, which is tabe, and then we simply attach ta to the ending. And now we get tabeta, which is the past tense form of taberu. Now that we have this, we're ready to connect this ta form with this grammar point. So let's use this to ask someone else about their past food experiences. An example sentence could be 納豆を食べたことがありますか? Now this is a little bit formal. Native Japanese speakers usually like to omit particles, and you can also omit the particles if you want to sound more fluid and more fluent-like. You can omit the particles and restructure the sentence. So now we get 納豆食べたことある? Have you tried natto before? Now, in response, the other person can respond by saying that they've either tried natto or they can say that they've never tried natto. Let's say, for example, that the other person has never tried natto before, and they respond to you by saying, 納豆を食べたことがないです. Again, this is a little bit formal, and that's okay because we're still learning Japanese. But just keep in mind that if you ever visit Japan, you are more likely have a tendency to hear something a little bit more casual, such as 納豆食べたことない. Just a little detail. So let's try another example sentence here. Let's say that you've been to Japan before, but like me, it's been a while. One of your friends asks you if you've ever visited Japan, and you respond by saying, 私は昔東京に行ったことがあります. I went to Tokyo long ago. Now, this is a little bit formal, and especially when you're speaking with your friends, you might not want to sound so formal. So if you do want to sound a little more casual with friends, you can omit watashi, and you can omit the particles, and now you can restructure the sentence to say, 昔東京行ったことある. I went to Tokyo long ago. However, if you're just starting off with Japanese, I really recommend that you keep watashi and you keep the rest of the particles, because this will help you to keep your Japanese organized and really polished and precise. So at first, it's okay to keep everything together. Now, one thing that you'll notice here is that when you use the positive form of this grammar point, たことがある, sometimes you'll notice that this positive form is accompanied by words such as 一度, 前に, and 昔. Whereas when you use the negative form of this grammar, たことがない, sometimes this negative form will be accompanied by 一度も. So let's say, for example, that you've never been to Japan or Tokyo before. And so now you can use this 一度も to express that. So you can say something like 一度も東京に行ったことがありません. Or let's use the ない form. 一度も東京に行ったことがないです. So this literally means not once have I ever been to Tokyo. Okay, so now let's move on to our other grammar point, ることがある. Now, ることがある looks very similar to たことがある, but it's actually used in a very different way. Now, if you're still confused about these two grammar points, just remember that たことがある is used with the た form, or the past tense form of a verb, whereas ることがある is used with the present tense form of a verb, or the dictionary form of a verb. Now, essentially, ることがある talks about occasionalism and frequency. So this is used to express that a certain situation or that a certain action happens occasionally or sometimes. So, for example, it sometimes snows in Mexico. メキシコでは時々雪が降ることがあります. It sometimes snows in Mexico. Now, this isn't something that usually happens in Mexico. It's rare, but it does happen. And that's when this grammar point comes in handy. So let's try another example sentence here. 大抵図書館で日本語を勉強しますが、家でも勉強をすることがあります. Usually I study Japanese at the library, but sometimes I also study Japanese at home. Now, you can also use the negative form of this grammar point, ないことがある, in order to express something that you don't do, that you don't usually do, or don't want to do. For example, I know that I have to go to work, but sometimes I don't want to go. 仕事に行かなければならないことは知っていますが、時々行きたくないことがあります. I know that I have to go to work, but sometimes I don't want to go. So, this concludes my video on たことがある versus ることがある, and I hope that I was able to clarify some of the confusions that may arise from studying two very similar looking Japanese grammars. Now, before I go, I want to leave you guys with one final sentence that will combine both of these grammars. 昔、日本に行ったことがあるので、今でも日本語を勉強することがあります. Since I went to Japan long ago, even now, occasionally I study Japanese. Thank you for watching my video, and as usual, はい、皆さん、頑張ってください。